So welcome to the party. I think this is day 3, 4. I don't remember. You're not gonna make me keep track of that, right? So you can tell I'm in my little floaty in the Gulf of America, not the Gulf of Mexico anymore, right? And I'm in Destin, which is one of the most happiest places on earth for me in the entire world. This beach, look at this water. This water, this is my favorite beach in the world. I've been to Bali, and I've been to Japan, and I've been to Croatia and the Mediterranean, and to the Gulf of the African coast. I've been to a lot of beaches, California, New Jersey, and let me just say that to me, this beach found in Destin is probably the best beach. Sugar white sand that does not make you hot to the touch. And when I'm on the water, I get the most clarity that I've ever gotten from anywhere. And I'm a Leo, which I think is a fire sign, but this water, I'm a water baby. It gotta be, because let me just say that when I'm on this water, it's the thing for me. My husband used to say, I love coming out here with you because you giggle like a schoolgirl. And he's not lying. I feel so safe and comfortable here. So anyway, I thought I would do this day's recording and talk about what I did yesterday, which is, well, what I did today. Just absolutely nothing. I didn't do anything. I literally came out to this beach and to this water, and I just hung out. And I started thinking about what I'm going to get after in these 12 months, right? I've got a plan. The goal is to push forward the agenda of getting the $60,000 revenue months. The goal is to hire the team of 5 or 6 to run the business without me. The goal is to have profitability at around $200,000. And the goal is to make sure that I can come out from the business all the way, because I'm almost there, right? So we've got an ads manager that I've hired part-time. I've got my ops. I've got a salesperson. I've got some things going for me. And so the team is looking pretty good. I just have a few more strategic hires to make, which, let me just say, was part of the playbook that I did when I built Women Travel Abroad and was able to sell that business. I literally had a fantastic team that I had built strategically to make sure that I would be able to sell it. Sorry if it feels like a little wavy. I hope no one's getting seasick because I'm on the water. So anyway, and so I believe strategically I'm running the same playbook that I ran when I sold Women Travel Abroad, which, when I put perspective on it, I'm like, okay, you were able to make this happen already before. So what would be the reason you couldn't do it again? Which is what I'm doing. That's what I'm working on. And so I've been using this time to sit on the water and reflect, but I also have been using this time to create content that we can use possibly moving throughout the year. Because here's the thing about strategy, you always got to be thinking ahead. I know my best friend used to say all the time, when I am planning, whatever I'm doing today will not affect the bottom line for 6 months. So whatever I'm doing today, all of that will matter 6 months from now. So the preparation is always in the planning. It's never day-to-day activity, which is probably why a lot of people stay stagnant in their businesses, because they wake up in the morning and have no rhyme or reason why they do the things that they do and the activity that they're doing. And the activity, whatever that is, it always has to be you moving the ball forward. Y'all be patient with me as I move this camera around because my arms got tired. So let me make sure I'm still recording. While I'm doing so, you can see the coastline. So hubby said I'm living dangerously by having the phone in the water with me. And he's not lying. So yeah, I spent a lot of the day reflecting on what that would look like and being positive about the business. There are times where you need a day like these to reflect on what's happening in your life, what's happening in your business, and then just also give yourself some grace to lean into the happy place. I've been in this water for about an hour without this phone, having a good time, and then I was like, all right, it's time for you to go ahead and grab this content that you need. And what I've come to understand is in this entrepreneurship lifestyle, you find the opportunities to live in your work, but also not make it to where work consumes you outside of being strategic about how you use your time. Because time is the one thing you can never get back, and time is the thing that is constant. And time, if you don't make the most of it, will often feel like it's running away from you. And I never feel like the time is running away from me. I feel like I use every minute of every day in a way that honors the fact that I can't get any of this back. And so being 51 years old this week, even though I have a time goal, like, right, I have a goal with a timeline attached to it, 1 year, that's just the kind of time that you put on a board so you can move forward and progress. A lot of folks will not put a time frame on what they're trying to get after, which then allows them to, procrastinate and not move forward. Right now, there's a conference that we're planning for November 30th through December the 2nd here in Destin. So it makes perfect sense for me to come and get this content and just have a good time. And I think I told you all earlier that McCoy, my husband, he's working here at one of the military bases. And so he's providing the hotel. I just came down here to join him while he's working, and it just worked out perfectly. Why would you not take that opportunity? And I didn't buy the ticket until 3 days ago to get down here the same week. And I reflected on that as well and thought, that's how I've been able to have this lifestyle, is that I no longer am tied to a ball and chain that tells me I can't work from anywhere, I can't travel anywhere, and things will stop. I can do all the things that I need to do as a nomad, and that's the life that I wanted. It may not be the life that you want. That might not be what you're looking for. You may be looking for constant at the house or constant, on the road. Maybe you want to do 2 or 3 months somewhere. I do better being at home and then going away for some weeks and coming back. So I was going to talk to you a little bit about that this summer and what's happened. So on July 2nd, me and my daughter, we went on a 6-week, 40-day vacation. And we spent time we first arrived into Italy, where I did a family, I guess it was the 30th anniversary for one of my good friends. She's like a big sister to me. And we did that in Italy. And then we transferred and we moved on to Paris, where we spent, I think, 6 days. And I hosted a masterclass there, which was great. And then we did a day trip to London on that trip as well. And then we spent 2 weeks in Morocco, where I hosted a masterclass as well. And then we came back home. Well, we came back to the U.S. and went to a good friend of mine in Washington, D.C., where we spent time with them as she was pinning on Colonel. She's in the United States Air Force, and we were so proud of her, and we spent time with her. And then I went back home to Kansas City. And so for 40 days, me and my daughter spent time in all of those places, like it's 4 countries, foreign countries, and then, a week in the U.S., and just didn't have a care in the world and have to be back home because there was a specific time that I had to be back because work was going to be calling. Like, that type of lifestyle was why I built Women Travel Abroad, why I built this business. I did it because I wanted to not be tied down by anything. And that at any waking moment, wherever I was going to be in the world, I could go and make that move. And so when we got back on the 10th, the day before my birthday, which is the 11th, me and my daughter, we were home. And my husband was like, hey, I got to go to Florida for a job. And I was like, all right, cool. We looked up the tickets. Last minute, it was super cheap for like $317 round trip. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm good. And I bought the ticket, and here on Friday, I showed up to Destin, and here I am on the beach. And so I'm going to go back home on Monday, or tomorrow, Monday, And I'll spend time moving forward and progressing towards the goal, which is, of course, transitioning and retiring, in a year. But what I'll be working on specifically toward that goal when I get home tomorrow is making sure our ad creatives are where they need to be ready to run those and kind of get a momentum going with always on ads and Meta. That's been a big deal for us right now. Our ad strategy has been a little bit more sporadic than I would like for it to be. I think that there is a strategy out there with the new Andromeda rollout that requires a little bit more strategy in how you actually run your ads. It's bigger than just, turning on a couple of ad creatives and then the leads just roll in and then you can close them. That's just not the way that it works anymore. And so I'm spending time reflecting on how to make that happen. And so Megan and I have been talking about that. So this is why it was so great to come here to Destin, since I knew I had an event here in December. I'm here in August. I can record all of the content that I need to make that event go off without a hitch. So I'm super excited about it. Super happy to be able to do that. So one of the things that we also have been talking about, me and my husband, is financially how we got to where we are right now and where we actually want to go. I think I've told you all that I got over leveraged buying real estate, and that real estate has pretty much been the bane of my existence, and we are just now getting to a place where it has become stabilized and not so volatile. And we've been talking a little bit since we've been here about how back 6 years ago when we were initially making our investment, we were trying to get people to come in on the investment with us. And everyone who we knew that had money and were in the same age bracket as us, who had really established themselves as something doing very well financially, not rich, but doing well enough, none of them wanted to come in and do the investing with us. And I remember, very clearly thinking, why would you not? Like, they all said that they wanted it, but none of them were putting forth the effort to buy the property. And here I was buying the property. And all I could say now, 5-6 years later, around why they did that is because they had no faith in me, and they didn't have any faith in their business acumen enough, and they didn't want to take the risk. And risk is a funny business. And I try to say to them all the time, you getting up and going to your job every day is a risk, because at any moment, that job could say to you, thanks, but no thanks. I'm good. And send you on your way. And nobody ever feels like their ball and chain is a risk. Like, I know women who come through my class, some of my students, who have been on a job 25 years. And literally they gave her papers and she had to leave her job. And she expected to work 5 more years. And I thought to myself, that's the risk. So you wouldn't bet on yourself? And I recognize that's a mindset shift for most people. But you won't bet on yourself? You won't bet on what you can do? I find that just, I don't know, it's crazy to me. And I'm gonna be honest, I used to have the mindset. I don't want to make anyone believe that I don't understand where it comes from. I do. Before I got that reduction in force, basically got fired in 2017, I too had an idea that, oh, this is a great job and it's good money and it's going to be great. And I thought I was in until I wasn't. And they didn't bother to find any new position for me or to tell me how to. It was just a terrible thing for me. And I said I would never be in that position again. That if I ever took another job, and by the way, during the first business, Women Travel Abroad, I worked 3 different jobs while building it. But I never gave them more than whatever it is that they required, which was 100% of what they asked for. And I spent 150% on what I was looking for. And I never let a job dictate how I moved anymore. Even when I worked I remember working at one of those positions when I was just getting back to opening up Women Travel Abroad full-fledged, after COVID. And I remember I had my computer for WTA sitting next to my work computer in the office. And there were 4 of us that were in the office. And we took turns taking customers as they walked in. And I remember specifically when a customer would come in and it was my turn, I would close my computer and I would, have my work computer and I would do the job. I would spend an hour with that customer if I had to. And the other people in the office, when they had their time, they would, they were watching ESPN and, watching YouTube. But then when the customer came in, so I remember my site lead asking me about, hey, I'm not sure if you're supposed to be working on your business while you're at work. I said, well, the minute you tell them to turn off YouTube and stop watching ESPN is the minute you can tell me that I can't open my computer. I would have never said that prior to having that reduction in force, but I recognized very early, like, who are you? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You tell them to do the same thing. Don't just say it to me. And I don't feel bad about that. And I believe I did it respectfully, just like she asked me respectfully. But ultimately, I was never going to give a job more of my time and energy and money than they were supposed to get. When it was time to work, I worked. And when it wasn't, I did my thing. And that was a lesson. And that's kind of how I've been living my life thus far. Like, even the position that I considered, being a founder, a CEO, even now, this work that I do is the work that I want to do. I don't feel stressed. I don't feel overworked. And all of those people who talk about hustle culture and those bro marketing people who talk about how you got to do all of these fantastical things to make a decent living and live the life you want, I don't agree with that. I make a very decent living and have a very decent life doing very extraordinary things like 6 weeks on the road and an impromptu trip to Destin, Florida, because I want to and I can. And if my business just does that, then it's doing what it's supposed to do. Because contrary to popular belief, everybody doesn't want to be a $10 billion business owner or a $10 million business owner. I get it. I don't want that. I want exactly what I have right now. I want impromptu weekends, long weekends, mobility and freedom of movement anytime that I want to. And that's what I've been striving to get to. Okay, so I can't see how long I've been on here. Let me take a look. Oh, okay. We got some good time. Y'all see this? Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'll say this. The other thing we've been thinking about is there a time for us to offload some of the investment that we've made? We're considering what it looks like to move and transition, because remember, in this year's time, we're going to be moving from Kansas City, Missouri to Texas is what we were saying right now, but shucks. The more and more we have a conversation about what we're trying to get after, the more and more we're thinking, is it Texas that we want to go to? Right now it is, but I can't say what that'll look like, I don't know, in 6 months. But I will tell you this, every day that we are talking, working, leaning in is a day that we're planning for what the future looks like. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to plan and get after the goals that we say that we want. I'm grateful for this life. I don't feel one way or the other that I should move into stress. Again, I have a different conversation about money these days. Money is it's a tool. It is not a thing to covet. It should not be a source of argument or a source of bad energy. Money does not do well when it comes from bad energy. I live in a place of abundance these days, and I do more of what I'm accustomed to and what the business has allowed me to be accustomed to more than I've ever done before. I'm not going to park in the parking space at the airport where I have to get on a bus. Well, first I have to wait on the bus, put my luggage on the bus, get off the bus, pray I remember where to park my car, and because I'm spending $10 less when I can just walk out of the airport across the street to the garage and just get in my car and go. That's worth the 10 extra dollars a day. And that's hard for a lot of people to get past that. I've got students who are still worried about $37 a month, and they're getting live training every week to build their business. You mean to tell me $37 a month is a problem? That's a mindset issue, because you spend $37 on those coffees and little small snacks that you buy. So let's talk about what priorities are. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I think this is pretty cathartic, having these conversations. And I'll tell you, the book I'm reading right now is called The Obstacle is the Way, which is a pretty good book discussing how we got to stop trying to move away from the problem, just go through the problem, because that's the quickest and easiest way out of it. So that's the book I'm reading right now. And at this stage, what we're doing is we're building a robust content library to move and position the business forward to the $60,000 a month. We had a launch last week. I was going to give you an update on that. Michelle did some sales. We got, I think, 3, which was not enough. But I'll take it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do probably a founders event this week, and also, a couple of little things in the email, and see if I can get a couple of sales there. So here we are. Until tomorrow. Talk to you.